complete forecast. Here's KATC meteorologist Daniel Phillips.
All right, everyone, let's get into this forecast here. The 7 o'clock advisory is out with Tropical Depression 14. Hurricane hunters are in there right now. They're able to find the low sitting right now just off the coast of Honduras. So that gives us a better reference frame. That tells us that the low is still there, and it gives something for the models to latch on with as well. Remember, we're trying to build confidence. Now, there's not going to be any kind of major track updates, not with the 7 o'clock anyway. With the 7 o'clock, it's usually the intermediate advisory. They kind of take a look at positioning. They take a look at winds, and the winds right now are still sitting the same. Pressure right around where it was as well. Still moving out of the west-northwest at about 12 miles an hour. Still expected to intensify right before it hits the Yucatan. The Yucatan Saturday and Sunday morning is going to be the most important part of this forecast. If this gets out over towards the west a little bit and it gets a little bit weaker, it's not out of the realm of possibility. Now, I don't think it's the most likely scenario, but it could end up, drifting off towards the west. A stronger storm is going to move northwards. Now, on the other hand, it could just skirt across the Yucatan, miss it, and then it's a stronger storm getting into the Gulf of Mexico, which that, for obvious reasons, becomes a little more problematic. Hedging the bet right now, splitting the difference with the National Hurricane Center. Track and forecast cone, and it's a fairly decent-sized cone out there. I mean, you're talking anywhere from well south of Houston. You're getting closer to South Padre Island there all the way through towards the mouth of the Mississippi. So a lot of uncertainty with this forecast, and that's not the only forecast that's causing problems, not the only forecast there's a lot of uncertainty with either. Tropical Depression 13, also talking the 7 o'clock advisory here, not a whole lot of changes. Pressure relatively the same. Looks like the low kind of sitting right around where it was as well, which is coming up to the Greater Antilles. This is still expected to work its way through the Florida Straits. I'd be very curious to see what the 10 o'clock one looks like. Some of the models were starting to trend southwards a little bit, and that's going to give it a lot more land interaction than this go through, which kind of goes through the Turks and Caicos. It makes a pretty clean run up through the Florida Straits and then on into the eastern Gulf of Mexico, and that may drift on through out over towards the Pensacola area. Two different named storms in the Gulf of Mexico, which is a rare, to say the least, I guess would be one way to put it. So you've got two different storms, neither of which are happening independently of the other one either. And so both of these are going to be impacting how the other one looks, which is going to make for a very, very hard forecast. You're going to hear a lot about the Fujiwara effect, which is when you get two different cyclones will sometimes start to orbit each other. I haven't seen the models quite pick up on that just yet, but again, certainly something to watch out for. It's going to be kind of a wild couple of days in the forecasting world, I think. Now, if you were someone who talks probabilities, I think right now as we sit Friday morning, you're talking a 50-50 shot of seeing tropical weather out there for Monday, Tuesday, and I think the numbers for that and the probability for that is going to increase as we get into early next week. Full write-up on this over at ktc.com. We need to see the structure of this storm as it comes off the Yucatan before we can start really nailing down specific impacts. So make sure that you do stay tuned this evening and through the weekend as we start to nail through that forecast and get a better idea. Katie?